jamming up and no street talk. That's the way you used to have to quote him, in style, in dignity, long ago.
Okay.
Had to be done in decent and in order, in my day.
Okay, so in those days, when was dating allowed? At what age?
Well, the ages varies, I should say, because mainly, you know, I think we mothers sometimes we don't want to let our children go too young in those days. But sometimes they'll write a letter for you when you're like 18, and that letter will be there like until you're 21 or 20. Sometimes, most of the letters I know in my days used to be written for 2.5 years courtship. That's how it used to be done in my day.
Okay, so courtship, what exactly does that
mean?
Yeah, like...
Well, when the young man come to visit his girlfriend, we all sit in our little living room, or if we sit out in the yard, but parents involved, you know. You don't think you're going in a corner to jam up with that boy. No, 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 no. We all sit together. Well, sometimes you might have a little shh, but not much of it. And they talk, and you don't think you're staying in my place, in our parents' place until X hour in the night. Sometime by the time 8 o'clock you're gone. That's the way we used to court long ago.
Okay, so courtship was a period where the parents and the couple sat together.
That's right, so to speak. They all sit together. And mainly the parents used to do the talking. You, the young people, hardly used to do any talking.
So when that period ended, the couple was allowed to go, you know, be by themselves and not...
Not much of it, you know, not much of it in this way I can talk about. If, like, we used to have our regular dances like Easter, August, New Year. And when you go to those dances, it's like a family group, relatives. You all go together and come together. And in those days, so to speak, children, people used to court with dignity. You couldn't be, you know, by the road jamming and chatting and things like that. Children had morals long ago. You know, you couldn't court like that. You had standard, you had class, so to speak. Young people now, they're far, far different. They're doing their own thing. But in my old day coming up, our courting was done, as the Bible said, decent and in order.
What they used to do with the dead people when they didn't have the mortuary album?
That's a very good question. When we have somebody die in Bequia, in a hole, any part of Bequia, what we used to have to do, if they die this morning, we had to get them in the cemetery this evening. If they die tonight, we had to get them in the cemetery tomorrow. And what the folks used to do, usually when they're in the coffin, because the coffin had to be built right away. When they're in the coffin or on the bed, they will get enamel plates. And they will take those enamel plates and lay it on the dead body, right along the dead body. And they'll put the grass in those plates. That's before ice was in Bequia. But then you put the grass, they said those grass will keep them from swelling. And by evening, you had to have them in the cemetery. You couldn't keep them long.
So between, like say someone died in the morning and you have to bury them in the evening, between that time, where you kept them?
Well, in their home. If they die at home, you keep them home. And if they die in the hospital in Port Elizabeth, you bring them to their home. Or if they die in St. Vincent, you have to take, in my day, you had to take the sailing boat, not even engines those boats had. The big 13-feet boat with sails, the jib and the mainsail on these big boats, and you go for the body. Sometimes they just used to bring down the body on a big piece of board spread down in the bottom of the boat, or sometimes they'll get a coffin from over there and bring them down. But most of the time they bring just the dead body down, wrap up in sheet, and then you have the coffin made here.
So what if the body was lost at sea?
well, we gone. The dead person gone, and those that bringing them in the boat, well, that's it, they gone. But then if there is an accident at sea, well, like in my day, when they used to have the schooners and the sloops, losing the loved ones at sea. For example, the vessel would be lost, and everybody would be gone. So you don't get them.
So if the body is lost at sea, do you still have a service?
Yes. Mainly the family will have a service. I didn't know of it. I don't think I was born, but I heard they were having loved ones was lost at sea somewhere in my young childhood days, or maybe I wasn't born. I don't know nothing about. I heard my relative talk about it. This relative or these relatives were pronounced dead in a boat, and when they were having the 40-night service, they usually said, no, that 40-night is to send them home. That's the end of the praise. When they were having that 40-night service, the loved ones are paid home. A boat brought them to St. Vincent, and then they brought them home. 6 members of the family will have to bear them. But what they used to have, cloth run under the coffin in each handle. So 3 men on this side holding the cloth and 3 on the other side. Right? And then you'll have to walk with 2 chairs.